What's up, Melly? My your girl, not Melly, that live right girl. Everybody be watching. So guys, today we are back with another reaction video. Ooh, I like doing these actually. So like I said in the last video, if y'all got anything you need me to react to, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Feel free to drop it in my DMs on Instagram, and my Instagram is Nimelly'sWorld. And I just made a Twitter, Nimelly'sWorld. I have not put a Twitter picture, and I have not hooked the Twitter up. But if you want to follow either or, they will be in the description link below. Ooh. So today's video, we are reacting to 15 worst serial killers of all time. So I'm about to press play, y'all.
There's a total of 17 times. Danger Dolan. From crazy clown killers butchering small children to the man who killed his own father and ate his heart, we count 15 of the most dangerous psychopathic murderers we've ever had the misfortune to hear about.
Number 15.
Jeffrey Dahmer, an American serial killer from Milwaukee. He would lead men to his apartment and dismember their bodies, keeping their skulls as souvenirs. He did this a total of 17 times and was actually known to eat parts of his victims from time to time. Luckily, his final would-be victim escaped, managed to flag down a police car passing on the road, and Jeffrey was sentenced to 900 years jail, but was found dead at prison in 1994.
He was sentenced to 900 years in jail. Just give my man the death penalty. That's all you gotta do. Just give him the death penalty. Now, what is 900 years gonna do? Baby, we only live for 100 years, if that. If that.
14.
Moses Sithole, seen as one of the most infamous serial killers of South Africa, he began what was known as the ABC murders, since his murders began in a town starting with A, Atteridgeville, then moved to Boksburg, and finally Cleveland. He would lead victims into abandoned fields and overpower them, usually involving rape and subsequently death. After he was captured...
Who he raping? Because he ain't cute? Who he luring? Because he ain't cute? You know what? Let me be quiet, because my mama always taught me there's somebody for everybody, but he ain't cute.
Captured in 1995, his sentence was set to over 2,000 years with a possible parole in just under 1,000 years. But there's a good chance he won't live that long.
Number 13.
Ted Bundy, a complete maniac who disguised himself as a charismatic, somewhat friendly kind of guy. He would often kidnap women posing as an authority figure or a disabled man to catch them off guard. But then sometimes he would get so impatient, he would just boot down your door and stab you in the face while you sleep, then rape and cut off your head as a souvenir. He was captured in 1979, and 10 years later he was sentenced to the electric chair.
Number 12.
Pedro Filho. This guy is intense, and he comes from a history of terrible violence that shaped the man himself. Before Pedro was even born, his father beat his mother and caused him a head injury in the womb, and then by the time Pedro turned 18 years of age, he had killed 10 people. Then he killed his father and ate pieces of his heart before getting...
Alright, so he killed his father and ate pieces of his father's heart. I just want to know, like, what goes on in the human mind that causes people to do things like this? Like, I just want to study that, how the human mind works, because this is crazy to sane people, but to insane people, that's their normal, and that's sick that, you know, it goes that way. Like that movie Bird Box. You notice that all the mentally insane people wasn't killing themselves because they can just see, and they feel like they can see so clearly. But if you was sane already, you go insane and you eventually kill yourself from whatever you're seeing. Like, it's crazy to think of the world like that.
He sent to prison, where he killed more than 70 people. Because Brazil has maximum sentencing, Pedro was released in 2007 and is still around to this day.
Number 11.
Dennis Nilsen.
So they released him from jail, ultimately. That's their laws in Brazil, which is crazy. Now you have a madman who done killed over, like, whatever they said amount of people on the streets. because he's released.
This guy was lonely, but in all the wrong ways. He lured over 15 young men and boys to his flat in London between 1978 and 1983. He killed them and slept with them in his bed because he wanted company. He would dispose of the decomposing corpses by burning them or flushing bits of them down.
You slept with dead little boys and possibly grown men, I guess that's what they said, until they decomposed because you was lonely. When you could have just found you a woman, a stripper, somebody to just, you know, occupy your time. Like, how gross and nasty. First of all, burning flesh smells horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. Like, horrible. Not only that, but a decomposed body. Like, have y'all ever smelled it? First of all, if you didn't know, I'm from New York City. I lived in an apartment where you can smell the dead rats in the wall, and that smelled bad. Imagine a dead human freaking body. Like, people are sick.
Down the toilet. He was eventually caught because a plumber found human flesh in the pipes, so Nilsson was arrested and jailed for life.
Number 10.
Daniel Carmago. This guy was a child murderer with over 150 victims, usually young virgin girls. He only confessed to killing 72 people though, but he was jailed and then he escaped from jail and went around killing even more people in Ecuador. But he was arrested in 1989 and killed in jail. It is believed he might have been motivated to murder due to his stepmother, who abused him as a child.
Number 9.
Joachim Kroll. This guy comes in from Germany, a man who killed and ate 13 people, including small children. Police got so desperate to catch him that they went knocking door to door asking if anyone had seen him before. And they got lucky when someone in Kroll's building pointed out Guts had been jamming plumbing pipes. It turned out Kroll had been slicing flesh off victims and cooking them to save on grocery bills. Thankfully, his heart exploded in jail around 1991.
Number 8.
Henry Lee Lucas. This guy originally came forward to say he and his accomplice Otis Toole had slaughtered thousands of people. In actuality though, police suspected him of only killing around 200, but only 4 of which were ever proven. Bizarrely, George W. Bush stepped up as governor at the time to change his death sentence to life in prison. Lucas died of natural causes at the age of 64, but we never really found out why George showed this strange generosity.
Number 7.
John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. He was originally arrested for sexually assaulting 2 teenage boys, but later released. He then enjoyed dressing up as Pogo the Clown.
He sexually assaulted 2 teenage boys, but then was released. But our black man, you know, who's not saying it's okay, not saying that is okay at all, but you catch our black men with what is it, gram of weed on them, and they get fucking 3 years in prison, versus this man who's and he's a white guy who is sexually assaulted 2 boys, and you let him free. Like, what is our justice system? I'm not understanding, what is our justice system for? Like, I'll have somebody who's sexually assaulting kids in jail versus somebody who's just selling the gram. Like, petty little nick bag. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
Clown volunteering at parades and parties. But then we find out he killed 33 young boys, burying their bodies in his yard, the river, and near his house, while dressed as the clown. He was later arrested once again, where he confessed to his heinous crimes.
Number 6.
Louis Garavito.
But if you kept him in jail the first time, he wouldn't have killed all them other people. Like,
This took place in Colombia, and it's the subject of much debate, as well as an ongoing documentary. In 1999, he was arrested and convicted of killing at least 140 children, which would lead to a several hundred-year imprisonment at the least, except the Colombian justice system has a maximum penalty of 30 to 40 years. Because he was very cooperative and apologetic, his sentence was reduced to 22 years. A public outcry continues.
you kill all them people. and your sentence was reduced to 22 years. 22 years for all them people you killed.
Is preventing this from taking place.
Number 5.
Peter Sutcliffe, also known as the Yorkshire Ripper, who went on a 5-year rampage to murder around 13 women in the late 70s. Most were prostitutes who he hit with hammers, stabbed, and then sexually assaulted just before they died. He was only caught because he happened to be driving through the red light district and a police patrolman recognized his registration plates.
Number 4.
Pedro Lopez. He's often called the monster of the Andes, a man who murdered and raped young girls aged between 8 and 12. He was arrested in 1980 and later convicted of killing 110 girls, even though he confessed to over 300 total kills. In 1998, he was released on a $50 bail. A $50 bail! And now his current whereabouts are unknown.
I'm gonna just leave that one right there, y'all.
Number 3.
Gilles de Rais, a bit of an old one from the 1400s, the celebrated military captain in the army of Saint Joan of Arc, who later turned to a life of crime. He would lure young boys to his castle with the promise of sweets, then torture, and mutilate them in deeply inhumane ways. His greatest pleasure was to bathe in their blood, to stab them in the jugular, and allow warm blood to wash over him. His servants would then burn the bodies. Pretty sickening stuff.
Number 2.
Andrei Chikatilo, one of the most notorious serial murderers from Ukraine, the Ripper of Rostov, who had a strange fetish that he could only get off by stabbing and slashing victims instead of raping them. He spent 20 years free, butchering at least 50 people in the early 90s before he was arrested, then executed by a gunshot at 57 years of age.
Number 1.
Gary Ridgway. This man, known as the Green River Killer, murdered 71 women over the course of around 10 years. He would then pick up prostitutes and strangle them cold, then dump their bodies in the Green River, hence his nickname. He eluded the police for quite a while before they picked him up in 2001. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one! Who later turned to a life of crime. He would lure.
Sometimes I just think the human mind is like really sick. Like really sick. But like I said in the beginning of this video, what we feel like is crazy because we're sane, to insane people, that's their normal, which is crazy to me that can be their normal. Like they always, like, growing up, because I went to therapy when I was growing up, they said that they talked about sexual preference. For me, my sexual preference is men. Well, a man, because I'm married, love my husband to death. My sexual preference is black men. That's just what I'm attracted to. Well, I'm attracted to a black man, because if he watches this video, he's gonna kill me. But yeah, like, I'm attracted to a black man. The next person can be attracted to white men. Black female, you know, I can be attracted to black female. I can be just attracted to black male. And to know that somebody's sexual preference can be a kid, can be a teenager, is sick. To think about that, that's really sick, but that's their normal. That is their freaking normal, which is sick to me, or sick to hopefully 90% of this universe, but it's normal to other people. And I just can't grasp the concept of how that's normal, but that's someone's normal. It's just gross. It's really gross. It's really crazy. And to know that somebody get a kick off of murdering, and not only just murdering people, but murdering freaking animals. I mean, of course we murder animals because I love me some ground beef. But we're murdering animals to, you know, eat. But someone getting a kick off murdering animals just to watch them slowly die, or murdering kids, helpless kids, is sick, but that's their normal. Like, It's crazy, but make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Team Melly Mafia all day. If you didn't know, now you know. And I'll be back with another reaction.